Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to film this video because you might be able to tell, but I love talking about camp. I know times are really uncertain at the moment, but it is not over until the fat lady sings. We have to stay positive and stay hopeful. And whether you're planning on going this year or next year or in 3 years' time, then I am here to answer all of your questions that you have asked me about camp. Now, most of these questions that you've asked me are dependent on a few things, but I'll try to answer them as best as I can. So we're going to start off with the age-old question: backpack or suitcase? Last year I bought a medium-sized suitcase, and it's safe to say that this year I'm going to bring the biggest suitcase I have. It really all depends on your travel plans afterwards and if you're planning on buying anything out there. Personally, I'm a little bit of a shopaholic, and one of the only things to do on a night off were go thrifting. So I brought a lot of clothes out there, and I actually ended up buying another suitcase to fit all my stuff in on the way home. Obviously, big suitcases can sometimes be a bit heavy or a bit annoying when you're going travelling. There's always somewhere to put your suitcase. At camp you can keep it under your bed. When you're travelling, obviously you've got Airbnbs and hostels as well. I know the majority of my friends as well did say that they wish they bought a bigger suitcase last year. But yeah, it's really your call. I just don't want to get hate if you bring a suitcase and then are like, I'm so annoyed I bought a suitcase. How much money should I bring to camp? So let's talk about camp for this one. Travelling after is a whole different thing. So for camp, it does depend on how long you're going to camp for. My camp was 10 weeks long, and for that amount of time, I would actually say at least £500. Now, £500 means you'll have £50 a week to spend, which means you will be comfortable throughout camp. It means on nights off, you can go thrifting, you can go to Chipotle. If you're over 21, you can go to the bar if you have a weekend off. Personally, I did spend a bit more than this last year, but that's because my camp has a trip to Niagara for all of the internationals, and the legal drinking age there is 19, so obviously I probably spent about 150 there on drinks. That is so bad when I think about it. I'm sorry, Mum, if you're watching this. I'm an irresponsible child. If you don't have £500 to take, do not panic, because you can last at camp with less than that. I remember at my orientation, one of the speakers said they went with £100, and obviously you are getting paid while you're at camp. But I think £500 is just a good amount to take with you where you can be comfortable. How should I take my money to America? Now, I highly recommend getting a travel card for when you go. In fact, I do not recommend at all not having a travel card for when you go. You can literally transfer money from your account straight to this travel card and then spend it in all sorts of currencies. Last year I used Caxton Card, and I think these are the people that Camp America recommend or are in some sort of partnership with, I'm not too sure. But a lot of my friends also said that Monzo was really good, so I'm going to try out Monzo this year. I'll let you know how that goes. Both of them you can literally sign up for, it takes 10 minutes online. So I'll make sure I link them down below, and you can literally do that when you finish this video. Should I get a US SIM card? Last year I didn't have a US SIM card and I lasted fine. During camp I really didn't need a SIM card because we did get Wi-Fi in the staff lodge, so I could FaceTime or iMessage or go on my social media there if I needed to. But also, your friends are gonna think you've disappeared off the face of the earth, and so is your family, because trust me, your head is just in so many other places. You'll just get so carried away with it that you probably will forget to text your mum. When it comes to travelling, I probably would have felt more safe if I did have a SIM card, and it would have been handy as well to have 3G at certain points. For example, when we wanted to order an Uber or use one of the little electric Uber scooters. The rules for mobile phones at camp. Now, I've heard that some camps actually take your mobile phones away from you and like put it in a box. However, that's not what my camp was like at all. We were just told that campers cannot see our phones at any point. A lot of people kept their phones in their bum bags or in their cabins or bungalows or wherever they're staying. It's just really important that you don't use them in front of the campers, else you probably will get told off, and it kind of just ruins the experience of camp for the campers, I guess. On time off, obviously you're allowed to use your phone, just make sure your campers don't see it. Should I book travel before going to camp or during camp? Last year was my first year at camp, and I booked the travel with my sister before going because my sister was not going to a camp and we decided we wanted to go travelling together. However, I tell you now, most people will book travel when they get to camp because you will find your friends group at camp and you'll all want to go travelling together afterwards. So there was a big group after my camp finished, and they all went on this huge road trip. It looked really cool, really fun, and it gives you a bit more time to spend with your friends that you've made in a different setting. You know, you might not see them for God knows how long. Yeah, I would actually recommend booking it when you get to camp, because like I said, you'll find your friends group and you'll all want to go travelling together. If that doesn't happen for you, there's always the option of Camp America treks. One of my friends booked to go on a Camp America trek before he got to camp, and towards the end of camp he did say he regretted that, because obviously he wanted to go travelling with everyone else who was going. But since we've got back to the UK, I've spoken to him and he said that the trek was amazing. It was a chance for him to meet even more people. So yeah, either is a good option, but I would just say wait until you get to camp so that you can weigh out your options. How do you get from the airport to camp? Now this is actually a really good question. I will link my travelling to camp vlog down below or have it up somewhere around here, but I did actually vlog my travelling to camp last year. So I'm going to explain to you a bit about how you get from the airport to camp if you've booked a Camp America flight. If you haven't booked a Camp America flight, you will need to find your own way to camp. When you get off your flights, you will all meet in a big group with the Camp America reps. And I actually remember when I was getting my luggage off of the spinny thing, this guy came up to me who actually ended up being one of my close friends at camp, which is crazy. But he said to me, you know, are you doing Camp America? And I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, well, we're all meeting over there. So everyone was in this big group and we were waiting with the camp rep. If you can't find the group of Camp America people, do not panic. My friend actually got stuck in immigration. Shout out to Sasha. She's a hot mess. I'll link her channel down below. And we were waiting for her for a good half an hour. The rep was not gonna just leave without her. He managed to get hold of her on WhatsApp and find her, and we all made it. We all made it there. There was no one that was left behind. Camp America have been meeting people in airports, God knows how many times a year for 51 years now. They're not going to leave you behind. If you're lost, just find some Wi-Fi or look for a big group of people. So once we had all found each other in JFK, we got a coach to somewhere in New York. I think it was just outside of New York City. It probably took an hour or just over to get there, and once we got there we had an orientation straight away. So it was in this room, they had food for us, bless them. They were just explaining everything. The great thing about Camp America is they're really informative and they can answer any questions you have. So they were explaining what was going to happen in the next couple of days, which was we were going to stay at the hotel for that night. We could use any of the facilities, so the swimming pool or the gym, and then they gave us our travel information for the next day. So that evening, me and the group of people that I met, we went to Target to buy some food and some coffee, some Dunkin' Donuts coffee. That was so cool. And then we went back to the hotel and we thought, screw it, we're gonna go to the pool. We're in America, we're absolutely sleep deprived, but we're gonna go down to the pool, meet some new people. So there was new Camp America people coming into the hotel throughout that day. Obviously people had been getting different flights from different places. Now that evening we weren't really sure who was going to what camp unless you were actually talking to the people. So you might have found a couple of people that were going to the same one as you, but I think I literally found like 2 people. It wasn't until the coach at 6 AM the next morning, when I was on a coach with 10 people going to my camp, the coach took us back into New York City and we were given some new coach tickets for a Greyhound from New York City all the way to Pennsylvania, Erie. And it was a 13-14 hour coach journey. I can't, like, it was literally the best coach journey of my life. It was so long, but it was so fun. By the end of that coach journey, I had made 10 friends for life. We knew each other inside out. You don't even want to know half the stuff we found out about each other on that coach journey. And by the time we got to Pennsylvania, there was 2 camp cars waiting for us that took us straight to camp. My favourite memory of camp. There's so many memories, I literally can't choose one. I think a sort of moment of realisation that I will remember forever is in OSB week, when you really start to learn what camp is about. You get there and everyone is friends with everyone, and you're singing camp songs around a campfire and you're having a festival and paint fights, and I'm so used to kind of being a bit reserved, I guess. And then I got there and it was skit night, and I'd made friends with a returner and she was just standing there dancing like crazy, and I was just like, wait, so like we can do that here? OSB week is like one of the best weeks throughout the whole of camp. You're seeing so many new faces and you don't know a thing about any of them, and you're getting to know people and you're dancing and you're realising that you don't get made fun of for being stupid. In fact, the sillier you are, the cooler you are at camp. Where are some of the best places to travel after camp? I haven't obviously travelled the whole of America, but some of the places I went that I would highly recommend. You have LA and New York City, which obviously are a must. Personally, I prefer LA because I think there's so much more to do there, but both of them are really amazing. Nashville is a must, and New Orleans as well is just so cool. Each of those places are just so different from each other. It's literally like you've entered 4 completely different worlds. But I'm definitely going to be doing some more videos on where to travel and what to do in those locations, so make sure you look out for those videos. Now the last question is how to stay safe when you're traveling. Obviously this is really important. So just a few tips I have would be, obviously always travel with somebody else. I mean, the bigger the group the better really. Make sure the accommodation you're staying in is legit. Whenever I booked Airbnbs, I liked to book with super hosts. If they weren't super hosts, I would make sure they had loads of really good reviews, because you don't want to be staying in a dodgy Airbnb. Same with hostels and motels as well, you just want to make sure they're safe. Also, when you're booking coaches, some of the Greyhound coaches especially can be really quite dodgy. Now some people don't really mind about this, but personally I get really worried about all that stuff, so I would make sure that I would book a coach not too late in the evening. If there was an option to book a coach at 7 PM or 11 PM, I would always book at 7 PM. Just get on there, I feel safe, but I feel like when I'm just hanging around in the coach station, I get really anxious if it's like quite late at night. And that's all of your questions. I feel like it's got really dark since I started this video. I must have been chatting a lot. Thank you so much for sending the questions in. If you have any other questions, please feel free to comment them down below or DM me on Instagram. I love talking about camp and I am here to help, and I'm happy to help, and I'm just a bit of a kino. So I really hope this video was helpful for you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you get to camp this year and you have the best summer of your lives. I'll see you soon.